Hello guys, now I want to explain how to do a first fit and worst fit. Now first fit you must allocate the first hole that is just greater than or equal to desired space. Now let us see the question. Here's the question. Here's the number of process inside, and here's the number of hole inside. Now let's start serve process 1. In process 1 we can use H2 because it equal to process 1. Now put process 1 into H2. Then update the remaining side of H2. Now next, turn to process 2. We use H4 and put process 2 into H4. Then update the remaining side of H4. And last, write down the physical address of process 2. Next, turn to process 3. We still use H4 and put process 3 into H4. Then update the remaining side of H4. And last, write down the physical address of process 3. Next, turn to process 4. We use H3 and put process 4 in H3. Then update the remaining side of H3. Last, write down the physical address of process 4. Next, turn to process 5. We use H5 and put process 5 in H5. Then update the remaining side of H5. And last, write down the physical address of process 5. Now next, turn to process 6. We use H4 and put process 6 in H4. Then update the remaining side of H4. And last, write down the physical address of process 6. And last, turn to process 7. We use H3 and put process 7 in H3. Then update the remaining side of H3. And last, write down the physical address of process 7. Okay. That's all for first fit. And next one I'm going to explain is worst fit. Worst fit you must find the hole which is holding the largest side of hole. Now let's start serve process 1. For process 1, we use H4 because H4 is the largest hole. And put process 1 into hole 4. Okay. Then update the remaining side of H4 after process 1 is allocated. Then update the and last, write down the physical address of process 1. Okay. Next, turn to process 2. H4 is still the largest hole. And put process 2 into hole 4. Okay. Then update the remaining side of H4. Okay. And last, write down the physical address of process 2. Okay. Next, turn to process 3. H4 is holding the largest hole. And put process 3 into hole 4. Here. Then update the remaining side of H4. Here. And last, write down the physical address of process 3. Here. Next, turn to process 4. Process 4, H5 is holding the largest hole. and put process 4 in hash 5 here, and then update the remain side of hash 5. And last, write down the physical address of process 4. Next, turn to process 5. For process 5, hash 5 is still the largest hole, and put process 5 in hash 5. Then update the remain side of hash 5. At last, write down the physical address of process 5, 883. Next, turn to process 6. For process 3, hash 3 is the largest hole, and put process 6 into hole 3. Okay. Then update the remaining side of hash 3. Okay. At last, write down the physical address of process 3. Sorry, process 6, 120. Next, turn to process 7. H2, for process 7, H2 is the largest hole, and put process 7 into hole 2. Then update the remaining side of H2. At last, write down the physical address of process 7. Here, 55. And that's all for WordSpeak, and thank you for watching.